Hey everyone, and welcome back to Classy English Conversations, the podcast where we help you build confidence in English, one conversation at a time. I'm Emma, your host, and today I'm joined by my wonderful co host, James.
Hello, hello. James here. So good to be back with you all. Whether you're listening while you're working, studying, or maybe avoiding something you should be doing, no judgment here, because today's topic is something every single one of us struggles with, and that's procrastination.
Yes, procrastination, the art of putting things off until the very last moment, sometimes until it's almost too late. And honestly, James, I think this is one of those topics that hits close to home for almost everyone listening.
Oh, absolutely. I'm a classic procrastinator. I remember in university, I had a 10-page paper due on a Friday. I had 3 weeks to do it. Did I start early? No. Did I start even a week early? No. I started the night before. I drank way too much coffee, typed like a maniac until 4 a.m., and handed it in just before the deadline. And I promised myself never again. But then the next semester, I did the exact same thing.
I think we've all been there. I did something similar with a presentation once. I had a whole month to prepare, but I kept telling myself, I'll do it tomorrow. And then tomorrow came, and I said the same thing. Finally, the night before, I was up until 3 a.m., making slides, practicing in front of the mirror, and I was so stressed. But you know what? The presentation went okay. And that was the problem. Because it went okay, I told myself, see, I work well under pressure. And then I kept procrastinating.
Oh, that's such a dangerous thought. I work better under pressure. It's a lie we tell ourselves to feel better about delaying. The truth is, we probably would have done a better job and felt a lot less stressed if we had started earlier.
Exactly. So today we're going to dive deep into this topic. Why do we procrastinate? What's going on in our brains? And most importantly, how can we actually stop? We'll share some simple practical strategies that you can start using today. And because we know many of our listeners are learning English, we'll also talk about how procrastination can affect language learning specifically. Sound good?
Sounds great. Let's start with the big question. Why do we procrastinate? Logically, it doesn't make sense, right? We know we have something important to do. We know we'll feel stressed if we wait, but we still choose to watch cat videos on YouTube instead of working. Why?
That's the $1 million question. And the answer is actually pretty interesting. It has to do with how our brains are wired. There's a part of our brain called the limbic system, which is responsible for emotions and immediate rewards. And then there's the prefrontal cortex, which handles planning, logic, and long term thinking. When we procrastinate, it's because the limbic system, the part that wants instant gratification, wins the battle against the prefrontal cortex. We choose the thing that feels good right now over the thing that will be good later.
Right. So, in simple terms, our brain is like, why work on that difficult report when you can watch a funny video and feel happy immediately? It's not laziness, it's biology. Our brains are designed to seek immediate pleasure and avoid immediate pain, and tasks like studying, writing, or practicing English often feel like pain in the moment.
Exactly. And that leads to one of the biggest reasons we procrastinate, fear. We're afraid of the task. Maybe it's big and overwhelming. Maybe we're afraid we won't do it well. Maybe we're afraid of failing. So instead of facing that fear, we avoid the task altogether. We put it off until we have no choice but to face it.
That's so true. I remember when I was learning Spanish, I kept putting off having real conversations with native speakers. I knew I needed to practice speaking, but every time I thought about it, I felt nervous. What if I made mistakes? What if they didn't understand me? So I kept telling myself, I'll practice next week when I know more words. But next week never came. I was procrastinating because I was afraid.
That's a perfect example, and it happens in so many areas of life, including learning English. A lot of learners procrastinate on speaking practice because it feels scary, or they put off studying grammar because it feels boring, or they avoid watching English videos without subtitles because it feels hard. But the more we avoid, the harder it gets to start.
Yes. So let's talk about another big reason, perfectionism. This is a sneaky one. A lot of people think perfectionism is a good thing. It means you care about doing things well. But actually, perfectionism is one of the main causes of procrastination. Why? Because if you're a perfectionist, you might think if I can't do this perfectly, I won't do it at all. So you wait for the perfect time, the perfect conditions, the perfect mood. But that time never comes, and the task just keeps getting pushed back.
Oh, I feel personally attacked by this one. I'm a perfectionist too. And I've definitely delayed starting projects because I wanted everything to be perfect from the beginning. I'd spend hours thinking about the perfect outline instead of just writing a rough draft. And by the time I finally started, I was already behind.
Exactly. And here's the thing. Done is better than perfect. A rough draft that exists is better than a perfect idea that stays in your head. We need to let go of perfectionism and allow ourselves to do things imperfectly.
That's so important. Okay, another reason we procrastinate. The task feels too big or too vague. When you look at something like learn English or write a book or get fit, it feels huge and overwhelming. Your brain doesn't know where to start, so it just doesn't. Instead, it chooses something easy and immediate, like checking your phone.
Right. Our brains love clarity. When a task is unclear, we feel uncomfortable. And to escape that discomfort, we procrastinate. That's why one of the best ways to beat procrastination is to break big tasks into tiny, specific steps.
Yes, we'll get into strategies later, but first let's talk about one more reason: lack of motivation or unclear purpose. Sometimes we procrastinate because deep down we don't really want to do the task. Maybe it's something we feel we should do, but not something we truly care about. Without a strong why, it's easy to keep putting it off.
That's a great point. I remember in high school, I had to take a history class that I hated. I procrastinated on every assignment. But when I started learning Spanish, something I actually wanted to do, I was much more motivated. So sometimes, procrastination is a sign that we need to reconnect with our purpose, or even reconsider if the task is really necessary.
Absolutely. So now that we understand some of the reasons, fear, perfectionism, vague tasks, lack of motivation, let's move on to the good stuff: how to stop procrastinating. And James, let's be real, there's no magic solution, but there are proven strategies that can help.
Definitely, and I think the first strategy is one of the most powerful, the 2-minute rule. This comes from a book called Atomic Habits by James Clear. The idea is simple. If a task takes less than 2 minutes, do it immediately. Don't put it off. Don't add it to a to-do list. Just do it right then. For bigger tasks, the rule is start by doing just 2 minutes of the task. Just 2 minutes. The goal is to make starting so easy that your brain can't say no.
I love this rule. I use it all the time. If I'm avoiding writing, I tell myself, just write for 2 minutes. And what usually happens? Once I start, I keep going. The hardest part is starting. The 2-minute rule makes starting feel easy.
To practice English with mistakes, to exercise for just 5 minutes. Lowering the bar removes the pressure and makes it easier to start.
Yes, and that's especially important for language learners. So many learners think, I won't speak until I can speak perfectly, but that's a trap. The bar is too high. Instead, say, I'll speak for 2 minutes, even if I make mistakes. That's how you actually improve.
Another strategy, break it down into tiny steps. Remember what we said about vague tasks? When something feels overwhelming, your brain wants to avoid it. So break it down. Instead of write an essay, break it into open document, write title, write one sentence, write another sentence. Instead of study English, break it into open app, watch one short video, repeat one phrase out loud. Tiny steps make the task feel manageable.
That's so true. And one thing that helps me is time boxing. I set a timer for 25 minutes. That's the Pomodoro technique. And I tell myself I only have to focus for that long. When the timer goes off, I can stop if I want. But often I keep going. It's a way to trick your brain into focusing without feeling like you're committing to hours of work.
I'm a big fan of timers too. They create a sense of urgency and make it feel like a game. And another thing that really helps is changing your environment. Sometimes we procrastinate because our environment is full of distractions. Your phone is next to you, your desk is messy, the TV is on, it's hard to focus. So remove those distractions. Put your phone in another room, clean your desk, use a website blocker if you need to. Create an environment that supports focus.
Yes, and for language learners specifically, create accountability. Tell a friend, I'm going to practice English for 10 minutes today. Or join a study group where you have to report your progress. When someone else knows what you're supposed to do, it's harder to avoid it.
That's a great point. Accountability is powerful. When I was learning Spanish, I told my friend I would speak with him every Wednesday for 15 minutes. Even when I didn't feel like it, I did it because I didn't want to let him down. And those 15 minutes helped me improve so much.
Another strategy, understand your why. When you're procrastinating, ask yourself, why is this task important to me? What will it enable me to do? How will I feel after I finish it? Reconnecting with your deeper motivation can give you the push you need to start.
Yes, and sometimes we procrastinate because we're tired or overwhelmed. So take care of your basic needs. Get enough sleep, eat well, move your body. When you're exhausted, your brain is more likely to choose instant gratification. Taking care of yourself makes it easier to take action. That's such a good point, Emma. And I think this connects to language learning too. If you procrastinate on practicing English, don't tell yourself, I'm so lazy or I'll never learn. That just makes you want to avoid it more. Instead, say, it's okay, learning a language is hard. I'll do a little bit today. That kindness makes it easier to start again.
So let's summarize all the strategies we've talked about. 1. Use the 2-minute rule. 2. Lower the bar. Give yourself permission to do imperfect work. 3. Break tasks into tiny steps. 4. Use time boxing with a timer. 5. Change your environment to reduce distractions. 6. Create accountability with a friend or group. 7. Reconnect with your why. 8. Take care of your basic needs. 9. Practice self-compassion. That's a great list, and I want to add one more, the 5-second rule. It's from Mel Robbins. When you feel the urge to do something, count down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then physically move to start the task. It interrupts your brain's tendency to hesitate and gets you into action.
I love that. It's simple but effective. So now that we have all these strategies, let's talk about how to apply them to English learning specifically, because I know that's why many of you are here.
Yes, let's do that. So let's say you've been procrastinating on practicing your speaking. You know you should, but you keep putting it off. What can you do? Second, lower the bar. You don't have to speak perfectly. You don't have to have a long conversation. Just say one sentence. My name is, or today is sunny. That's a win. And then tomorrow you can say 2 sentences.
Third, break it down. Instead of practice speaking, break it into open my phone, open the language app, repeat one phrase after the speaker, record myself, listen back. Each step is tiny and easy.
Fourth, use time boxing. Set a timer for 10 minutes and just practice. When the timer goes off, you can stop, but often you'll want to keep going.
Fifth, change your environment. If you always practice in your bedroom where you also relax, your brain might not want to work there. Go to a different room or a cafe or even stand by a window. A change of scenery can help.
Sixth, create accountability. Tell a friend, I'm going to send you a voice message in English every day this week, or join an online speaking group. When someone expects you to do it, you're more likely to follow through.
Seventh, reconnect with your why. Why do you want to learn English? To travel? To get a better job? To watch movies without subtitles? Write that reason down and put it where you can see it. When you feel like procrastinating, remind yourself why you started.
For me, it was making it a habit. I stopped relying on motivation. Motivation comes and goes. Instead, I attached my practice to something I already did every day. For example, every morning after brushing my teeth, I would do 5 minutes of Spanish. After a while, it became automatic. I didn't have to think about it or convince myself to do it. It was just part of my routine.
That's such a powerful point. Habit beats motivation. If you can create a small habit, like 5 minutes of English after breakfast, you'll practice consistently without the internal battle. And consistency is what leads to progress.
Yes, and one more thing that helped me was tracking my progress. I used a simple calendar and put an X on every day I practiced. Seeing the chain of X's made me want to keep it going. I didn't want to break the chain. It's a small thing, but it works.
That's a great visual tool. So for our listeners, if you're procrastinating on your English practice, Start with one tiny habit, 5 minutes a day. Use the 2-minute rule to get started. Track it, and be kind to yourself.
I want to add a quick story. A few years ago, I had a student who really wanted to improve her English speaking, but she was terrified. She kept putting it off. She said she would start when she felt ready. Months passed, and she still hadn't started. Finally, I asked her, "What's the smallest step you can take today?" She said, "I can say hello to myself in English."
Exactly. Now, James, I want to ask you, since you've been through this journey yourself, what's one thing that helped you stop procrastinating on language learning?
And eighth, self-compassion. If you miss a day of practice, it's okay. Don't let one day turn into a week because you feel guilty. Just start again today. Every day is a new chance. And she did. The next day, she said hello to her reflection. Then she added, "How are you?" Within 2 weeks, she was saying short sentences to herself. Within a month, she had the courage to talk to me in English. She didn't wait for the fear to disappear. She started anyway. And that's the secret.
That's such a beautiful example. And it shows that overcoming procrastination isn't about being perfect. It's about starting. Starting small, starting messy, starting today.
Exactly. So if you've been procrastinating on your English, here's your invitation. Do one tiny thing today, just one. Say hello out loud. Watch a 1-minute video. Write one sentence. That's it. You don't have to solve everything today. Just take one step.
And for those of you who procrastinate on other things, work, study, personal goals, the same principles apply. Break it down, lower the bar, use a timer, change your environment, and most importantly, be kind to yourself. You're human. We all procrastinate. The question is not whether you procrastinate, it's what you do next.
So let's quickly recap what we covered today. We talked about why we procrastinate, our brain's preference for immediate rewards, fear, perfectionism, vague tasks, and lack of motivation. And we shared strategies to overcome it. The 2-minute rule, lowering the bar, breaking tasks down, time boxing, changing your environment, accountability, reconnecting with your why, self-care, self-compassion, the 5-second rule, and habit stacking. And we applied these specifically to English learning.
That's a lot, but you don't have to do everything at once. Pick 1 or 2 strategies that resonate with you and try them this week. See what works, experiment, and remember, progress, not perfection.
And we'd love to hear from you. What's one thing you've been procrastinating on? And what small step are you going to take today to start? Share with us in the comments or on social media. We read every message, and your story might inspire someone else.
Yes, and if this episode helped you, please share it with a friend who might need a little push today. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss our next episode, where we'll be talking about how to stay motivated when learning English feels hard.
Until next time, remember, you don't have to be perfect. You just have to start. Start small. Start now. We believe in you.
Take care, everyone. Keep going. And we'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye for now.